and they say, well, you know, look at your picture and you look, like you're a small punk.
Yeah, because as soon as you take your top off, then it's a different story.
No, but also I was making illusion. I was making myself bigger on the stage than I was really by this carb loading manipulation. And I mentioned this, if you really guys look at the pictures of some guys, let's name Dennis Wolf, 2007 when I trained him, I carb loaded him through the roof. 2008 he was 18 pounds heavier, okay? But when you look at the picture, he looked at 2007 bigger.
How would you work out how much carbs you would need?
How much carbs? This is that testing that we would do, okay?
Also you would do like weeks before?
Weeks before, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not something what you do on the last week?
No, yeah, no, I mean the last week you're going to do for the contest.
Yeah,
but when you're doing for the contest, you should check out before, yeah,
so
definitely.
So you would recommend this for female competitors?
Well, if they need to be, okay, female bodybuilder competitors, absolutely.
Or like figure girls?
Figure, no, because, you know, okay, it depends what they look for and what depends what girl looks like. You know, if a girl is muscular already, then probably that would make her too muscular. So, you know, sometimes you have to deflate them, you know, everything depends. And sometimes judges are giving you exactly idea what they're going to look for, you know. But
most of them can't make their mind up.
I was just about to say, they have no idea what they want.
Here in the UK,
Not in the UK.
Yeah, they give everybody different
yes, well, back in the day, and I remember when we were getting the notices in IBB, and I said for all female competitors, you need to get 20% softer.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well,
No, but what is 20%?
yeah, what is 20%?
20% of what?
You can't put 20%. On,
Yes,
you know,
no, but that was actual IBB president writing to all the competitors, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And then they said as well, like, if you had a goat, you would get marked down.
Yeah,
and then everybody who had a goat was the winning shows.
Yes, yes.
So it didn't make a difference.
But you know, to make it official, I'm back in IBB, and I don't speak bad about IBB ever. You know, no, it's just, I think in every contest, bodybuilding is a subjective opinion of a few judges that's supposed to be qualified. If you ask any judge, what are you looking for, they're not going to be able to define it. Actually, a few guys...
More than anything, they'll confuse you. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, I actually had an opportunity to ask few. They said, first thing they're looking for is if you're missing something.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to be balanced and complete. You know, but then you have a guys, let's say they have for example, no muscle, calves. And in top 3 at Olympia, right? So how do you explain that? Well, everything else is so great. Now, as you guys know, many times Mr. Olympia competitors were winning because of crazy back. And I asked 97 back in the Olympia press conference, I mean, does particular body parts, you know, hold more points? Because if you have a huge legs, right? Oh, you're imbalanced, your lower body is overpowering upper body, right? So you get penalized. But you have a huge arms or back or something, then you are awarded. You know, so they didn't really particularly like my question. But I just think, okay, we're all different. What is, you know, perfect for me might not be for you, and I understand the judges are like that. Unfortunately,
It's an opinion, isn't it?
yeah, the subjective opinion. The judge that like somebody this year is going to probably like the other second year, and next year. It is like this. You have to rotate the judges, and that's when Sean Ray was very loud about, and I commend him for it. You know, he was just saying, why do you always have the exact same judges? Because they're going to always want the exact same guy to win.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do think, and to make it official, really, you can win a pro show next year, and you just have to have that attitude, you know, and go for it. So for carb loading, okay, speaking openly, right? Even though it's about Zack, competitor like Zack, who is more muscular and massive than average, right? Can be equaled if he's flat, but some other guy is fully loaded. They can come to the point that, okay, he doesn't really beat him so much in size. But so if he is much bigger normally, and they're equally loaded, then he's going to, you know, still maintain that advantage, muscle mass advantage. And that's nowadays, especially as you're going to New York Pro, where Rami won, and the New York people, they're always like freaks, you know, so I think you should be as freaky as possible. freak in a good way.
What would be your range that you might load Zack on?
Okay,
just not knowing kind of where he's going to be
Yes.
a week out or whatever, but 1,000 grams, 1,500 grams.
Okay, it's a very good question. Now, somebody is very responsive to carbs and somebody is not. And I think I mentioned in M10, you know, the example of Dan Swolf. I 2007, first time I worked with him, he's in my gym, okay? And I gave him carbs weeks before, but you don't really push it to the max, right? So yeah, he's nicely filled. When we were going to the contest, I put him like 3,500 grams of carbs, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? So that's 1,200, you know, 1,000 above, right? Expecting that this is more than sufficient, because what is glycogen capacity total? When they say maybe 750 grams total, average person less, bodybuilder is a little bit higher. So okay, if I need to replenish, let's say 1,000 grams, or let's say even 1,200 grams of glycogen possibly stored in muscles, and I believe it's possibly even more than that. This is how much carbs you should take, because in the last few days you don't burn calories, you don't train once you start loading. But Dennis ended up, he was looking good, he placed third and he was beyond happy, but he was not filled. So I had to increase to 4,000 for 3 days for a Keystone, and then 5,000 to Olympia. And Olympia, we were really pushing it, and I still have that, I saved it. We started loading because we needed more time. Wednesday, early in the morning, he trained like 6 o'clock in the morning, and as soon as he finished, he started loading. So we managed to put 5,000 grams of carbs Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's about 1,700 a day, pretty much. And Friday was left open because you're filling up, you lose a little bit overnight. You're filling up, you lose a little bit overnight, and then you watch Friday, and okay, it's not there. So I would back him off normally on Friday once he's completely filled. But with him on Friday, we had to, go all the way.
What were the lowest if you can remember, what were the lowest his total carbs got 2 to 3 weeks out on training days?
250.
The reason I ask is the carb loads often got to be relative to the amount of carbs that somebody was on leading up to the final week. So say, for example, somebody was on, I know, I think we kind of run depletion on 120, didn't we?
120, yeah.
And we ended up loading on the first day with 1,000.
Yeah.
So.
But as I said, why do we carb deplete and train like a maniacs in those 3 days? To empty the glycogen storage, to have an empty bag.
Yeah.
So we have to go that low. And I'm going to tell you, for example, if you guys are listening, I prepare Gustavo, and he was phenomenal in that Olympia, right? And then 2004, 2005 Ironman, right? I prepared him. He was in my gym. I could see him. And then 2 weeks before Arnold Classic, he went to Ohio, but I was staying in California because I was busy. And then I was supposed to see him Wednesday when he started carb loading for the Arnold Classic. So he had the same program, right? And he's supposed to deplete with 150 grams of carbs, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, he thought it would be much better if he has no carbs, zero carbs.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. Yeah.
Okay, so he really did the zero carbs, right? And he didn't tell me this right away, but so we start loading, okay, and just like, shit, it's not filling up. And then it's again not filling up and not filling up, and then it gets in and drops it too fast. And basically I didn't really know what was happening. And he was pretty good, even by the time he stepped on the stage, but he was fading out. Instead of winning, he was third. He was in good condition but flat. If he was going to be full, it would be different. And the difference was just that, because he thought it would be better to just completely empty it. But there, it's dramatic, because you are already calorie deficient, right? And now you have no nutrients and a high workload output. You're training twice a day, so you're really becoming crazy catabolic. If there are catabolic parameters, he would be through the roof.
So he's breaking muscle tissue now.
Yeah, he catabolizes, and once you start catabolizing, it's very hard to now replenish and go back up.
The UV drivers, if they've gone zero for say 6 or 7 days, as soon as you start carb loading them, that's like Zach said, they catabolize that much faster than they would do if they'd just done it conservatively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. If I understood you correctly, if they go 6-7 days with no carbs.
Well, no, say sometimes you see people, they go 0, and then they add carbs in on their carb load day 1, and their weight will drop like 3
Even
kilos.
more.
It just goes poof.
Yeah, because they're eating carbs, but the metabolism is running so fast,
Yes.
it's not holding on to no weight. Yeah.
It happens. And
Because, you know,
I think you experience.
You can't catch up.
Yeah, because you could be eating loads of carbs and then you weigh yourself, just say Friday night, you could be like 7 pounds, you know, you put on that day, and then you wake up in the morning, you probably lost 10.
It happens.
Yeah.
So all of this need to be checked. Inspect what you expect, make the plan, make the program, and stick to it. So this is basically glycogen need to be completely depleted to be supercompensated. Otherwise, you're going to spill over. You can't put more water than 1 liter here. As much as you're going to try, you're going to spill over. Don't. If you empty it, you're going to be able to put more that was previously there. At a time when you're carb loading, right? You don't supposed to be active, because if you're training, you're burning that glucose. It's supposed to be stored as a glycogen. So you do the carb loading after your last workout, usually on Wednesday, sometimes on Thursday. Depends. Many people don't need 2.5, 3 days to carb load. Many people just carb load for 1 day. Everything depends.
So what would you do if somebody 5 days or 7 days out from a show is looking great, and you're thinking, you know what, I don't want to risk carb loading him because he could look 50% worse, just to get that 5% better.
Yeah, but what you said for your last show, you were ready, and then you lost.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get ready? You were losing body fat. You were on a fat loss diet, calorie restricted diet, and then you have lost completely body fat. If you continue the same diet, it's going to be eating up your muscle or depleting the glycogen, so you're going to look flat. So you don't need to really carb load, but I would increase the calories, slowly. You can do slowly. Ideally, if you're 4 weeks out ready, then you can already start increasing 4 weeks out and 3 weeks out. Slowly. Many people, many pros that I know do that, but again, especially in this 90s. When all the great guys like Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman, Nasser Sambati, you name it, they were all doing a major carb load. And I know them personally, I know what they did, and they would always be like, okay, 2 insulin shots on Wednesday, 3 on Thursday, and 2 or 3 on Friday, and sometimes 3 on Wednesday.
If somebody is on shows on Saturday, Thursday, you give them a carb load. Friday, their weight's dropping really fast. From a bodybuilding perspective, with someone who's assisted, would you say the only way to get back on track would be to use insulin?
The only dramatic way to get back. Otherwise, if you don't, you might push it all day. Friday, it might not happen. Yes, but okay, as you're talking about something, insulin, why? Because it's pouring it in. It's like shoving it in. So that's the only way, if you ask me. And there's many instances. Okay, 95 Olympia. Again, one of the great pros, Vince Taylor. He was going to retire because he was so fed up. He was dieting, didn't know what he was doing, and he was flat as a board, night before. Okay, that was going to be his, goodbye contest and all that stuff. And Paul Dillette brought him, to my room, and he said, okay, check him out. And I appreciate Vince Taylor's physique, great physique, everything is well. But he was really, you can see, flat as can be. And he's eating a sweet potato, right? And I said, okay. And so, out of respect, I don't want to tell you what to do, but Paul Dillette brought you here for what reason? Oh, he thinks you can do something. Okay, of course. You can do, and especially when somebody is so flat, right? It's a bulletproof safe. I mean, if you're just doing it overnight, and maybe 2 shots, needless to say, oh, you want me to eat these sweets? No, wait, no. Okay, you're going to retire anyway, right? You don't look good, you're not happy how you look? Trust me, try this one. Anyway, like 5 o'clock in the morning, there's some fool is, knocking on the door. You know, there was Vince Taylor, and he couldn't wait. Check me out, and took